Hello there. Welcome. It is 4:30 p.m. Central Time. This means office hours on our academy. Hi, Andrew. How are things?
Now that I'm here on office hours with you, fantastic. Highlight of a very chaotic week, I must say. But I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I um, I'll add a +1 to the chaotic week, but we are here. We are happy. It is office hours.
That's right.
All right. So, any news from the week, perhaps?
Yes, absolutely. And I realize I've got the wrong link here, but nevertheless, this link will tell us the same thing. So, yes, I do have news and I do have information to share if you'd like to share my screen.
I'll do that.
All right, perfect. That looks pretty good right there. All right, so now that I'm actually sharing my screen, this might make a little bit more sense. For those of you managing Apple devices, from time to time, Apple will have new terms and conditions that affect Apple Business Manager, School Manager, and things like that. And here's where I said I had the wrong. That's not what I want. I had the wrong link because this is an older announcement for it. But here next week, April 14th, Apple will have new terms and conditions that need to be accepted again. Otherwise, your devices that are managed with Intune, your Apple devices, will no longer sync with Intune until you accept those terms and conditions. So.
And I believe you cannot also enroll new devices into the platform until.
Absolutely correct.
All right.
All right. So I will actually, in our links for this evening, I will have the correct link that has the correct date, but the gist is the same as what I have up on the screen right now.
All right.
That's live demos for you, right? Or live sharing information.
I think I saw the Intune support account tweeting about it.
They did. I thought that was what I shared. But nevertheless, we'll get the right one up. Also came across, I saw somebody happen to share this pretty cool article from Wim Matheson. It's a PowerShell script. Heck, you may have shared this actually, Johan, or retweeted it. PowerShell script to deploy BgInfo. The article's title says for Windows Server 2025, but of course this does work on older versions of Windows Server. So this is BgInfo, very commonly deployed, especially across servers, which if you haven't used it in the past, you may have seen before. Basically, BgInfo takes system information and places it on top of or over or replaces your desktop wallpaper so that you have information that shows things like what server am I connected to, what version of Windows is it running, what is the IP address, and additional information should you want to have that in your environment. So having a way here to easily deploy and configure that, very useful. This is something, if you've used our hydration kit, we have something kind of similar going there.
That must be one of the best first name ever. In
the
history
Wim.
Of first names, yeah.
That's fantastic. What are the odds somebody named Wim gets into the Windows system administration, systems management industry? I love it.
Yep, respect right there. Good stuff.
Absolutely. Also came across, there was an article I think just posted this afternoon on some updates that are coming to Autopatch. One thing that I was really excited about is the Autopatch reports are now going to cover all Intune managed devices instead of just devices that are managed by Autopatch. So I thought that was pretty exciting. It was a thought that I had when these Autopatch reports were first rolled out. Hey, why don't we just have everything on here? You might be able to filter it on Autopatch devices or something like that. And I know I'm not the only one that had that thought. So very cool to see that. In addition to that, there is also going to be 4-hour updates to these reports. So pretty exciting there. That's a huge performance improvement, I would say. There are some additional Autopatch features that I haven't quite gotten to dive into yet in this article, but there's some new additions to or changes to Windows Autopatch groups. So excited to see some improvements here in these features for sure. And last but not least, Johan, you might want to chime in on this one a little bit as well, because you actually pointed this article out to me. A fantastic article, Troubleshooting Windows Feature Updates in Microsoft Intune. I even find myself these days, we'll have a device that a feature update isn't coming down, and really, in the absence of some of the logs that I'm used to or that we're used to using with ConfigMgr, for example, or having available to us, sometimes it really just feels like, well, I don't know why these feature updates aren't coming down. But of course, that's not really the case. There is always a reason in the background that your feature update isn't coming down. So it's important to, that's basically what this article steps through. Are all of your prereqs met, first and foremost? Are specific services running? Do you have your policies updated properly, or assigned properly? There's a whole bunch of different information that is actually available to you for troubleshooting feature updates when you're assigning them through Intune. I'm going to keep this article handy for the foreseeable future. This is absolutely fantastic stuff. Wasn't sure if there was anything specifically that stuck out to you, Johan, in this article, but
no, but it's just fantastic to see support engineering taking the time and actually summarizing a lot of that, the stuff that they know, they have seen, worked with customers, figured out. More of this, absolutely love it.
Absolutely. I would say this right here were two of the things that stuck out to me. Check that Microsoft account sign-in assistant service and connected user experiences and telemetry service are running.
It's not the first two things you check. It's like way down the list.
Exactly. So really great stuff here. Thank you again for sharing this with me, Johan. This is a fantastic resource. But that was what I had for today.
All right, then. A couple of things. First of all, I wanted to highlight that I'm not sure how to even pronounce that, but PH like friend, but a weird spelling. Here on the YouTube channel, I saw a comment earlier. Good evening. Thank you very much. But last week, we had a question regarding how to figure out if a ConfigMgr client, what WSUS server it was using. And we didn't have the answer top of mind at the moment. But when I took a look later in the comments, because I do get notifications when people commenting after the fact, and that is not the right session. That is today's session. That was you, Andrew. This one from last week, we got a reply in here that basically says, oh yeah, you can absolutely find it in that WMI class.
Do you?
I probably should share my screen also.
Yep.
Here. So basically, I went to our live website where we have all our recordings for all these office hours. Went down to last week's session, and sure enough, there were a reply here from friend. I'm going to call him friend, but using that class in WMI. And sure enough, I took a look in one of my own environments here. Let me see, not that one, but let me go to one of my clients that happen to use a software update point. So two ways to get to it. Of course, you can use, if you're just interested in browsing for WMI stuff, data, you can open up the good old WMI Explorer. Has been around for a very long time. And you can start to poke around in the different classes that ConfigMgr creates. So for example, in the software updates class, there is a ViaMonstra handler. And in this one, there is indeed a CCM update source. If I click that instance, you can see that my machines, the server it scanned last against was this one here. And I can also achieve the same from just PowerShell. Just ask for that information and it will tell me that will be the server. So thank you so much for sharing that information. Useful stuff. Absolutely. Then we have another friend, and that was Mr. Mike Terrill. That kindly reminded us of ConfigMgr 2309 going out of support today. And sure enough, I switched over to one of my older labs, not my main lab, but this one here. And when opening that console for the first time, I got a notification about 2309 not being supported, whereas my... Oh, sorry. That's not the one. This is 20... This is my 2503. Very much supported. This one here. If I go to the console. Ta-da! Site server is past the end of support. You better update right now. It doesn't mean that the server stops functioning. It means that you should do upgrades because it's no longer supported, meaning no longer tested. So thank you there, Mike. Appreciate that. Then on a totally different topic, I stumbled across a post from Thomas Maurer, now Microsoft these days, but he shared out that Microsoft just released a new video series on Arc Jumpstart training. So if you're interested to learn more about Arc, for example, for server patching, this would be a good starting point. So glad to see that. Then I stumbled across that Orin Thomas shared some information about upcoming network changes for Azure VMs that require outbound internet access. Going forward this year in September, you will need to specify exactly what outbound methods that is used. So just a friendly link or a friendly reminder, bookmark that link and make sure you don't have any of those. That needs to be some configurations. You did share the new Autopatch features. I'm not going to share that one. I did see that Mr. Rod Trent got a new job with Microsoft, but a different position. So he ended up being a program manager for their private communities. So congratulations, Rod. If there's a person to lead community stuff, it is him. He's been part of our ConfigMgr SMS community since like 2000 for the past almost 30 years now, but at least 25. So well done there. And then I stumbled across a little feature in the security update that was released yesterday. The April update had a little bonus, it turned out.
Oh.
It creates an empty. Extremely handy if you eventually want to add a web server to your workstation, but nobody knows why that folder is being created, but it is being created.
Interesting.
And I saw some other people reporting the same thing later, but congratulations if you patch your stuff with the April update. Yep, you get a bonus free of charge. As far as I know, free of charge.
There could be some surprises there.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any questions coming in or comments? I did saw a hello and good evening, so I'm going to say hello and good evening also.
We do. And I will also second that hello and good evening to everybody joining. Good afternoon, good morning, whatever part of the world you're in. First question we have here is, can you use SQL Express on your distribution points?
I can't say I have installed the SQL Express on a DP, but I cannot see why not. Obviously, ConfigMgr cannot use a SQL Express server, but if you need a SQL Express for, whatever, I cannot see why it couldn't run on a distribution point. Usually, I would recommend spin up a separate VM, but heck, if you have a good VM running a DP with enough memory and CPU and whatnot, I mean, SQL Express instance it's not a heavy resource hitter at all. It's capped in memory, it's capped in size of your databases, etc. It's capped at 10 gig. Of course, you can have 32,000 of those 10 gig databases, but don't.
All right. Got another distribution point question over here on Twitter from Clive. I have a question. I have a distribution point that failed in my environment today. I've removed the distribution point and rebuilt a fresh new DP on newer hardware. I've named it the same as my old DP that died and it's offline. Or should I give the new DP a brand new unique name?
I usually, when I spin up new DPs, I usually assign them a new name. But if you remove the old one from ConfigMgr, you can reuse the same name for the new one. Because ConfigMgr will just add that to the DP list anyway. So both works. Either generate a new name or make sure to remove it first out of ConfigMgr and then just install it with the same name as a new DP. That works fine.
All right.
The trick is usually to just give ConfigMgr a little bit of time to remove all pieces from it before adding in the new one. So not like second one this and second one add, but give it a half an hour or so in the meantime.
Makes sense. Thank you, sir. We've got an Intune question here from Francois over on YouTube. I have created a configuration profile with the profile type properties catalog, and I now see that information in the Resource Explorer tab. Is it possible to use this information for dynamic groups?
I don't think so. I've only been querying that data using like the device query options. I didn't see more showing up for dynamic groups after enabling that one.
I believe
But
that is correct.
I'm not 100% sure, but I just didn't see it show up or see any announcement of it. I might have a few devices still enrolled in it. I think one of my HPs. Let's take a quick look. I had my entire lab down a couple of weekends back because I learned that the machines got so warm. So I had two that failed on me because of heat. So I put in shelves in my shelves so I could get some space in between the machines and have a fan blowing air through them. And that took care of that problem, but it also meant that I have a lot of devices not online for a bit. So if I go to device query here, let's see something that is normally not available. That's fine. So this query runs against data that has already been inventoried. This is not CM Pivot. It doesn't run live against the clients. It is for inventory data only. Okay, here's a couple of, here's a Dell machine. So I wonder if stuff like that will be available as I don't think, but let's see. Let's go to groups.
No, I agree, and Ken is here in the chat too, saying that today as well. I think that's one of the things that we're definitely hoping we will be able to do, similar to how we could create device collections with that information in ConfigMgr.
Yeah, because if I go to one of my dynamic groups here, the one I'm using for drivers for, well, Dells in this case. I do not think any of those know. No. No, but I mean, you can get creative because you can script against what's being inventoried. And you can use custom attributes here. So you can take that data, smack that into a custom attribute, and then you can do a filter on whatever attribute you're looking for. So it's doable, but it just requires a little bit of a scheduled task that runs and just pumps data over or synchronizes it, whatever you come up with. So maybe that. Good question, though.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Ken, for chiming in there.
All right. Oh, here's a good question. Well, they're all good, but will both of you be at MMS? Yes, we will.
Right. Yes, we are. And they just slotted the sessions, like, was it Monday? Was it this weekend? Recently. So let me see. This gentleman has a couple of sessions throughout the week, and he is accompanied by this gentleman. He also has a couple of sessions throughout the week.
So I got to say, I'm so excited. I've had the opportunity to present with some really awesome people over the last couple of years, seriously. But at the same time, I'm pretty excited to be back presenting several sessions with you, including this very show live from MMS.
Heck yeah. See if we can convince Adam to join us again. He joined us back in what was that, Miami?
It was, yes.
No, yeah.
Or Fort Lauderdale.
Close.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct state.
That does lead me to check, actually. I think they were doing a live stream as well. Okay, theirs is the night before. So, yes, I will be reaching out to Adam this evening.
There you go. I saw David just commenting out as well. For those of you who don't know David, we probably don't work with OSD stuff, but he will be there, Mr. Segura. And he has promised us to he had a sneak preview in during the AVP summit up in the user group in Bellevue or Seattle area. So I'm looking forward to that one. So I'm hoping it doesn't collide too much.
All right. Let's see here. I saw Matthew's asking again, can you use SQL Express under DPs? Matthew, Johan did answer the question right here at the beginning.
Yeah, and the answer was simply, I can't remember doing it, but I can't see why not.
Yeah. No real blockers, right?
Not that I know of, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. And I will say, too, on the point about scripting those groups, Ken did have a follow-up. It might be a little bit easier with Power Automate or Azure Automation scripts. So fantastic suggestion there, Ken. Thank you. All right. Got another question here from Andre over on YouTube. Is there a report in ConfigMgr to determine uptime or computer use time? We're trying to report out how long our students stay logged into our library computers.
Yes, there is information being gathered for it. I just remember not being super reliable, but I can't say I've seen a report for it. I've seen it in the database. Let's take a look. Let's go to a server that is actually still in support. No, it doesn't look like there is a built-in report to show uptime. Let's see what we have on the device node. No, but I do remember having seen it. You can always create a custom report once we figure out the...
Are you talking specifically computer uptime or session time as well?
Oh, yes, computer uptime.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say for while you're looking for that, anything that I've dealt with in the past in terms of recording session time has been agent based, and in my experience has been like third party agent based. So a lot of what I've personally dealt with in recent years have kind of gone away from that. It's a difficult thing to track, but I understand the desire to do that, especially for public devices, public shared devices like libraries, computer labs, that sort of thing.
Let's see what this one does. What can possibly go wrong in a live demo? Oh, good lord, it did some bad formatting. No, that one did not work. Must use system. Pretty sure it's part of this one here. Yeah, last boot up time. This will work. Yeah, perhaps this one. I'm not sure how accurate this one is, but at least I can see some of my systems that are online right now and that they are probably correct.
And maybe one that has aged out a little bit, if it's correct.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't really give the full uptime. And I see reports of this last boot up time basically being a hit or miss. Might be better to ask the devices themselves.
Okay.
That would be my, script or something like that, and just summarize it somewhere.
Some good research right there. Thank you, sir. We did have a question here. Did someone ever determine what patch creates that inetpub folder? Did you say it's this month's patch, right, Johan?
April patch, yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday's?
Yesterday's patch, yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's see here. So Jamie's asking, do you think we'll get any traction on Feedback Hub with offline store downloads? More OS features now using store apps instead of cabs, like enhanced speech, which is an MSIX. Ken's got a reply. Unlikely the answer will probably always be use Intune to install store apps, but Jamie's got some other examples here. Basically, a long string is one of the apps. So the name of the application in the background, not very friendly, not searchable in the store.
I mean, we did see some application becoming surfaced in the update for or backend update for Winget that they so maybe that, but I haven't tried. Where it allows you to specify the store as a source. So yeah, don't have any better reply on that one unless you have something, Andrew.
I don't. Jamie did just follow up though. Winget does let you download it, but says license error. I know. Was that this article, Johan, that you talked about the licensing or accepting a license when you're downloading a offline store app?
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, PowerShell 6 and above have get uptime, so that wasn't terribly complicated. That's not working with Windows PowerShell though.
All right.
All right, anything else?
Matthew just sent in a question here on YouTube. Do the DPs still rely on WDS? I know ConfigMgr has its own Pixie service, but I've noticed on my DP it has WDS installed. I use the hydration kit to set up my test lab.
Well, yes and no. These days you have the option. So if I go over to one of my DPs here, this one runs the responder, and here you have the choice. If you select both of this, you get this. You get the native responder. And the beautiful thing about that one is that it works on both servers and clients. It's a somewhat lighter service, and in general, the better option to pick. If you clear this checkbox, this one here, then it's going to install Windows Deployment Services instead. And that requires a server and has more overhead and over the years, it's been known to breaking here and there when Microsoft does updates. So I happen to like the new responder better. So I would keep this one here and use that one instead. So it's up to you, but there is no dependency on WDS. It's just that it can use it if you wanted to use it. The only technical reason could be multicast, and nobody should be doing multicast anymore. If you need performance of your imaging, do peering of the content, it's way better. Because the more machines you deploy, the quicker it goes.
Ken added in here, I actually like the verbosity logging of WDS-less PXE over the traditional WDS PXE.
Yeah, that's a good point, because if I go to the log files, and it still uses the old tricks for performance that you may have for older PXE servers. You can set block size and window size and whatnot. But to Ken's point here, if I have over to where the log files are being created, that there is good information here that we didn't have before. So I like it. Every time you boot a device, you see directly what type of deployment it has for it, what architecture it is, and what deployments that has been denied. For example, this machine here that I started up earlier, at some point, it basically said you're not allowed this, or this. The reason is those sequences are ARM deployments, and this is a 64-bit device, and well, cannot deploy ARM to a regular 64-bit device. So, good point. Like it. Totally agree.
All right. Looks like Matthew's going to check that out.
Sounds good.
Good idea. Yep. Actually, just drop something in the chat, Johan, if you want to compare to the get-uptime commandlet.
I should be able to do that. I'll even forgive you for using an alias for the command there.
Well, based on my very short Googling that I did to get that, I'm going to blame somebody else.
Yeah, that one is not right.
There was a minus in between the two.
Yeah, let's see here.
There we go.
No. Maybe. Yeah. Why did it strip that one out?
Yeah, that's strange. And if you do the get uptime, does it give you the same?
Whoops. that was a new command. Yeah. So the question is this one should be available, because this is just pure WMI.
So I wonder if that's just giving you the same time that would have been gathered by hardware inventory that you found in the database, except it's going to give, obviously here it's going to give you real time.
Yeah, should be. All right, good call.
Cool. I didn't even know about get uptime until today, so. I know about opening Task Manager and clicking on performance and then the CPU.
Yeah, that is also a trick, of course. Okay, you mouse counter.
Not too scalable though. When you need to look at more than one computer.
Yeah. All right. What else? See a question from Jamie coming in regarding if I've seen issues with PXE failing to copy WinPE to hard drive, yes, I have many times. That there is no good workaround for it. The workaround is making sure that you don't target sequences that use different boot images to the same collection. Because in ConfigMgr, if you're using the native responder, it's always going to boot the one you deployed last. And if that's the wrong one, it's going to try to stage it. And in 11 times out of 10, it's going to fail staging it.
Interesting.
Now, it's been like that since back in the very long time. But if you keep the devices in different collections and you target sequence 1 with boot image 1 to first collection and sequence 2 with boot image 2 to the second, problem solved. It will always boot the right boot image. Other options would basically be you have to pay for a better PXE server. iPXE that the friends over at 2Point is offering allow you to pick a sequence and boot image before a boot image starts. ConfigMgr does not. It always downloads something. It happened to be the one you deployed last. So, a bit painful, but that's how it is. Cannot change that.
All right. Matthew's got a comment here. Looking forward to seeing how my TSGui and TS background works with a full deployment. I know you've had good luck with both of those solutions, right, Johan?
TS background I've used a lot. TSGui I just tested out real quick when I was doing the replacement for MBT webinar.
Yeah.
TS background is rock solid, at least as long as you stay away from 24H2. I've seen some hiccups on 24H2.
All right. And as a follow-up to that, Matthew's Matthew's aware of the task sequence step that joins a PC to a domain and into a specific OU. He'd like to set OUs depending on a TSVAR I set from TSGui. Do you recommend setting up a separate step for each OU, or just changing the OU at a later step?
No, just set the variable and it will pick it up. That works just fine. SMS, TS machine object OU or something like that. Let's see. SCCM has sequence variables. Boom. Machine object. No, it's called something else. That's the name. Set that variable and it applies to that. Didn't mean to show a timer to that step. If you happen to have the MDT integration, it's called machine object UU, but this is the native config manager name. So have TSGui set this variable, and this step here is going to use it. And it has to follow that syntax that is listed here. I like this way better than going to a sequence. Let's see what I have here. And I've seen folks basically copying and pasting this step many times and put conditions on it. I try to avoid that if I can, and rather have a script set the variable or something set the variable that this script will pick up and use. And that was the variable I showed earlier. yeah, my take on it.
All right. I love the call out here. A 10-minute break. Back in my day, they were 7.
Yeah, we decided to upgrade our standards on the academy for a 10-minute break. I grew up to the metric system, lived in the US now, so of course I have to adopt, but
Yep.
it felt good to set it for 10 minutes.
Far fewer people going, 7?
So when we run our courses, we have 2-hour session. We always have a break about halfway in, and before we used to have 7 minutes. Now we do 10. So have a fighting chance to have coffee and relax for a couple of minutes and then go back.
That's right. Union shop? No. That's funny.
Okay, great one.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So Jamie's asking, have you seen the group policy legal banner pop up during a build with 24H2? I needed to go create a specialized unattend.xml step to fix so I could continue the build without needing to press OK.
No, I have not. Usually the way that ConfigMgr team launches the sequence, it usually prevents policies from applying too quickly. If that started to happen recently, I would probably file a bug for it. That is not supposed to kick in. There is a workaround. You can basically shuffle around OUs during deployment. So MDT, for example, that doesn't have that protection at all for group policy processing. You kind of had to. So it is fairly straightforward to set up a web service that allow you to put machine into staging OU, and then in the end of the sequence, just move it to wherever it's supposed to be and just do a reboot at that point. And that way the machine will miss the group policy that happened to have a something that blocks it. This is also for organization that was using MDT that would like disable the admin account, and MDT requires it, so it would break. So maybe that's a solution to a problem also.
All right. Clever.
Mm-hmm. All right. I don't see any other questions. I hope we didn't miss anyone.
I hope not. But it is awesome to see how far I have to scroll to get to the bottom or the top of our chat list today.
Yeah, it's fairly long. And I have a nice monitor, so.
Yeah. No, I'm not seeing anything either.
All right, looks like we will get a couple of minutes back today, but all right.
Letting us off the hook easy.
Yeah, not like I'm going to be crying over that too much, but everyone, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for chiming in, asking questions, commenting. We appreciate that. And Andrew, thank you for helping out. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, everybody, for joining. Have a great rest of your week.
All right.